Princeton University Press Audio presents Death in a Shallow Pond, a Philosopher, a Drowning Child, and Strangers in Need, by David Edmonds, read by Zeb Soanes. Introduction. Death and the Shallow Pond. More than half the people of the world are living in conditions approaching misery. For the first time in history, humanity possesses the knowledge and skill to relieve the suffering of these people. Harry Truman, Inaugural Address, January the 20th, 1949. On your way to work, you pass a small pond. On hot days, children sometimes play in the pond, which is only about knee-deep. The weather's cool today, though, and the hour is early, so you are surprised to see a child splashing around in it. As you get closer, you see that she is a very young child, a toddler, and that she is flailing about, unable to stay upright or walk out of the pond. You look for the parents or babysitter, but there is no one in the vicinity. The child is unable to keep her head above the water for more than a few seconds at a time. If you don't wade in and pull her out, she seems likely to drown. Wading in is easy and safe, but you will ruin the new shoes you bought only a few days ago, and get your suit wet and muddy. By the time you hand over the child to someone responsible for her and change your clothes, you'll be late for work. What should you do? Philosophers sometimes posit scenarios or thought experiments in which it's not clear how you should act. This is not one of those cases. It's not offered as a genuine dilemma. You are not supposed to scratch your chin and seriously weigh up the options. What should you do? Here is a purely rhetorical question. Indeed, when I present the imaginary situation to my non-philosopher friends, as I have done numerous times, a typical reaction is awkward laughter. The idea that a person could be concerned about being late for an appointment or about getting their garments muddy when a child's life is at stake is obviously preposterous. We'd regard anybody who worried about their clothes in such a situation as morally warped and quite possibly dangerous. So if the answer to the thought experiment is not in doubt, what is its point? Well, one philosopher, Peter Singer, uses it as evidence for a radical claim. Over the years, the exact wording of this claim has evolved a little, but the original version went like this. If it is in our power to prevent something bad from happening without thereby sacrificing anything of comparable moral importance, we ought, morally, to do it. Why is this so radical? Because according to Singer, most of us in the affluent world metaphorically walk past such a shallow pond every day of our lives. You, listener, are probably one of those to whom Singer's argument is addressed. There are people dying of poverty and disease every day. Obviously, that is an extremely regrettable state of affairs. What's more, Singer thinks these people can easily be helped. There are multiple charities that operate in the developing world with a mission to help those most in need. Many of us are sufficiently well off to donate to these charities with money that we would otherwise spend on relatively trivial things. We could donate enough to save a life, or indeed lives. That is what we are morally required to do. If we know we can save a life and fail to do so, we're no better than the person who ignores the toddler's cries, choosing instead to keep their clothes clean. It's been described as the most famous argument in modern philosophy, and it's unlikely that any article has been assigned so frequently on university ethics courses as Famine, Affluence, and Morality, in which the shallow pond makes its first appearance. Nor, at least in the Anglo-American world, is there any philosopher better known outside philosophy than its author, Peter Singer, who is, according to taste, admired or despised. The shallow pond has spawned an enormous literature. My aim in this book is to explain its peculiar philosophical power and appeal, as well as the trenchant philosophical criticism to which it has been subjected. But there are more dimensions to the shallow pond than just the philosophical. There are riveting psychological, economic, and sociological angles, all of which I explore. Nor is the shallow pond of mere academic interest. I will tell the story of how the thought experiment came about, and how it has had a huge real-world effect, for the better, it seems to me, though much for the worse according to some detractors.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?